Elon Musk says the Tesla Model S Plaid can do 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds and do the quarter mile faster than any production car. But he also has said that reality is a computer simulation and we should nuke the planet Mars. So I don't know whether to believe this freaking guy or not. It's probably the fastest accelerating car you can buy today, but that's under a very specific set of conditions. I got curious. Well, what are these very specific sets of conditions needed and why are they so important? So today we're gonna break them down and figure out how you can stack the chips in your favor to beat it in an actual drag race. Turns out you might be able to do that in your mama's minivan. As long as your mom's minivan has a top fuel engine in it, it's got a wheelie bar, drag slicks, and as long as she's not in it. Thank you to the Zebra for sponsoring today's video. Everyone's in a rush nowadays, and if you're looking to save time, here's a pro tip. Every time you're at a red light, stare it down until it goes green. Turn green! Turn green! See how much faster that was? But if you're looking to save time and money, the Zebra is the nation's leading car insurance comparison site. They make the overly complicated task of securing coverage faster and hassle-free by comparing over 100+ insurance companies side by side in minutes. The best part? The Zebra saves drivers an average of $440 a year on car insurance. It's pretty nice, right? So, whether you buy online or over the phone, you can save time and money with the Zebra. Just go to thezebra.com/bumper and compare quotes to find your perfect policy today. Turn green. Turn green. Plaid is Tesla's newest, fastest, top-of-the-line Model S. And like everything else Elon does, it's a cheeky reference to a 35-year-old movie featuring Rick Moranis. Look it up, it's crazy.
They've gone to Plaid.
The Plaid builds upon earlier Teslas that featured ludicrous mode. The first ludicrous Model S in 2015 was capable of going as fast as a $2 million Porsche Carrera GT. And while those cars were built for outright speed, the Model S is a comfortable, spacious sedan that costs a 17th of the price. But Tesla wasn't content being merely ludicrous, oh no, and they have continued to push EV technology. But when the Plaid was announced, Musk man made some almost unbelievable claims, saying it would do 0 to 60 in just 1.99 seconds, something no production car has ever done. To put that in perspective, if you were to push a car out of a plane, it would only reach about 44 miles per hour after 2 seconds of free fall. It would take another 0.7 seconds to reach 60 miles an hour. At full blast, the Plaid is producing 1.3 Gs of acceleration, more than gravity itself. No matter what comparison you choose though, the Plaid is straight out simply fast. But on Tesla's website, you'll see a little asterisk next to that 1.99 0 to 60 time. That's because the Plaid can't achieve its maximum acceleration at just any time and any place. It needs a couple of specific things to make that happen. Kind of like when I do my 0 to 40 sprints, I gotta be like creamed up with the icy hot on the back of the thighs, got my cleats on, you know, shirt off, obviously, gotta let everybody know what I'm working with, tight underpants, just I run in underpants. If you've ever tested the 0 to 60 time in your own car, your results were probably slower than what the manufacturer, magazines, and other websites said. You might have thought that this was because you didn't have the right conditions. Everything from tire pressure to air temperature, elevation, humidity, and even how much gas is in the tank can affect acceleration. Maybe you blamed it on a headwind or the sun in your eyes. But if you're like Motor Trend and have a reputation for doing reliable and repeatable 0 to 60 times, you'll use precise instrumented testing and control for as many of those factors as possible. But still, it's likely your time was slower because the 0 to 60 you've been told your car will do is a rollout time. So what does that mean? A rollout is based on timing at drag strips. A typical strip has a set of yellow, green, and red lights, often called a Christmas tree. Now, while I could explain it to you, I would like our resident junior drag racer, Mr. Nolan J. Sykes, to explain what's going on at the drag strip. Nolan, help us out.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, I used to compete in drag racing, spent a lot of time at the drag strip, love talking about this stuff. So, the green light is the obvious one. It tells a driver when the race starts, but important information is conveyed by two other lights on the Christmas tree as well. Two of them are linked to light beams that run across the track. When the first beam is blocked by the car's front tire, that triggers the top light or the pre-stage light. This tells the driver that they're 7 inches away from the starting line, which is also where the second beam lives. When the car's tire blocks that one, this triggers the stage light, which tells the driver to stop and wait for the green light. Once the green is lit, the driver can take off. But the clock which records the car's elapsed time, or ET, doesn't start until the front tire is no longer blocking the stage beam. It takes time for the tire to clear that beam, which means the car is already moving when the timer finally starts. So that means if you use this method for measuring 0 to 60 time, you aren't measuring the actual time it takes for a car to accelerate from a dead stop to 60 miles per hour.
The little star next to the Plaid's 1.99 0 to 60 time indicates that this is with rollout subtracted. A car can reach 5 or 6 miles per hour in the rollout, and that reduces the reported 0 to 60 time by as much as 0.3 seconds. Really, it's a 5 to 60 mile per hour time. But Tesla isn't the only one who does this. Companies like Ford and Chevy often report times this way as well. The practice is so widespread, many companies, magazines, websites report rollout 0 to 60 times without telling you that's what they're really doing. And rollout times are somewhat controversial. Some testing sources argue that if everyone is reporting times with rollout, then maintaining that standards lets you more easily compare different cars. Others argue that using rollout doesn't demonstrate actual 0 to 60 performance, and drag race timing simply isn't relevant to most consumers' interests. Some have even gone as far as calling rollout numbers cheating. I've been there. It's not fun. When Motor Trend tested the Plaid, they recorded a 1.98 second 0 to 60 with rollout, and that vindicates Tesla because they openly said that their 1.99 is without rollout subtracted. But the total 0 to 60 time Motor Trend recorded was 2.28 seconds. And when you're making claims that rest on hundredths of seconds, the devil's in the details. And at the Plaid launch event, Elon Musk said no production car has ever done 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. It looks like that is still true. Mr. Musk, he ain't lying, according to Motor Trend's testing. The thing is, Motor Trend does typically report 0 to 60 results with a rollout subtracted, but they also said the Plaid doesn't count as a sub 2 second car. What the heck? That's because to get that crazy acceleration, the Plaid has to be on an actual drag strip, because drag strips are extra sticky. Their surface is coated with a synthetic resin known as VHT or PJ1 track bite. Track bite is pretty amazing stuff. It's fire resistant, water repellent, it's even biodegradable. And it helps the tires of a drag car hook up and grip the surface instead of spinning. But it's not the resin itself that's so sticky. Track bite attracts and retains rubber particles from the tires that pass over it. It helps the surface get rubbered in, increasing the grip just like the racing line on a NASCAR track after a bunch of laps. The reason why a rubbered in track surface is grippier than plain asphalt is because materials stick to themselves better than they stick to other materials. Even though the traction between a soft rubber tire and rough asphalt is pretty good, the grip between rubber and rubber is even better. The extra grip of a prepared track surface was necessary for Motor Trend to get the Plaid 0 to 60 time under 2 seconds. The best they could do on a regular asphalt was over 2 seconds, even with rollout subtracted. But it was so close, just 2.07 seconds. We're talking 8/100ths of a second from breaking the 2 second barrier. Take the seats out, let Skinny Bob drive, and now we're cooking. So now that we've demystified the dark arts of 0 to 60 times, what can we expect for the quarter mile times for the Plaid? Well, Tesla says the Plaid will run the quarter in just 9.23 seconds, another record for a production car. Faster than the Demon even. That's thanks to a staggering 1,020 electric horses. F1 cars have about 1,000 horsepower, and the fastest quarter mile time we could find for one of those was 9.2 seconds. Of course, F1 cars aren't designed specifically for drag racing, but neither is the Plaid. After all, it seats 4, has air conditioning, and it weighs 4,800 pounds. That's as much as 3 F1 cars, or a typical SUV, or 2 long fin pilot whales, or 1 short fin pilot whale, or Yabala! In spite of that, Motor Trend recorded a time of 9.25 seconds at 152.6 miles per for the Plaid when it was run on TrackBite. That's close enough to Tesla's claimed 9.23 seconds to vindicate that too. Mr. Musk, he's telling the truth. Tesla says that they expect most Plaid owners will run their car at drag strips, and that's why they're going with the drag strip numbers. And if you're not one of those owners and plan to stick to regular old asphalt, you should know that Motor Trend estimated that the asphalt quarter mile time is 9.34 seconds, which again is still faster than anything else you can buy. A Bugatti Chiron that costs nearly $3 million takes 9.4 seconds to do that. It's insane. A 16-year-old kid with a rich dad will be driving one of these cars, and it's gonna make you furious. That 9.34 second time is estimated because a road car going that fast raises some unique safety concerns, which we're gonna explain in just a moment. But before we do that, there's still one more thing the Plaid needs to achieve those top tier times. Not only do you need to ignore the first few miles per hour and use a special surface, but you have one condition that a lot of people have a problem with. To get to 9.2 seconds in the quarter mile, you have to enable drag strip mode. This process, which takes between 8 and 15 minutes, preconditions the battery pack and electric motors. The battery is heated or cooled to the ideal temperature, and the motors are cooled so that they can deliver maximum power. When that process is complete, the car will tell you that peak performance is ready, and you can complete the final step, cheetah stance. To initiate cheetah stance, you pull up wherever you plan to launch from, you hold the brake pedal with your left foot and the accelerator with your right foot. And over the next 8 to 10 seconds, the car lowers the front end by 2 inches and firms up the suspension, preparing the car to deal with the massive weight transfer that's about to happen at launch. Once complete, the Plaid lets the driver know by displaying cheetah stance enabled and ready to launch. You just let off the brake pedal, hold on tight, and the car will rip through the quarter mile in its advertised time. Insane. Now, why certain people have a problem that the car has to get preconditioned is beyond me. If you have a drag car at the strip, you gotta warm it up. You gotta do a whole bunch of preconditioning that you don't necessarily talk about. The fact that this car does 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds is freaking mind-blowing. So I think people are just grasping at straws here. Haters gonna hate, Elon's gonna skate. Nollie. Just did a nollie. You didn't even see it, but I did.
New shirt alert. That's stupid. You guys can't get enough of our catchphrase, and we can't get enough designing clothes. That's why we came out with our third Give It the Beans shirt. This one's with a can. On the front, you got your Give It the Beans can, and on the rear, you got a gaggle of cans on the back in all different modern styles. That's a little art history joke for you. Very sleek, very streetwear, very hip. Get your Give It the Bean can shirt on donutmedia.com. Only $29.98. Give it the beans and get one today.
So there it is. The Model S Plaid really will do 0 to 60 in 1.99 seconds and run the quarter mile in 9.23 seconds, just like Tesla says. But it needs to roll out a prep surface in drag strip mode and cheetah stance to do it. I think once you know that, you can figure out how to beat it in an actual drag race. What does actual drag race mean? Well, let me explain. We saw that taking away the prepared surface doesn't actually do very much. You only lose 1/10 of a second. And even then, it's still faster than any production car. Now, before you guess, well, take away drag strip mode, you should know that the YouTube channel Drag Times ran the Plaid without drag strip mode, and they got 9.67 seconds in the quarter mile. Again, that's still faster than anything you're likely going to show up with. So it seems like beating the Plaid in an actual drag race is going to be pretty hard to do. But I'm here to play chess, not checkers. So what if we could beat it on a technicality? If you want to beat the Plaid in a sanctioned drag race, you actually want the driver to use drag strip mode and cheetah stance, and that's because a real drag race has another condition Tesla hasn't mentioned. The driver doesn't choose when it starts. Actual drag racing uses something called courtesy staging. If the strip is using courtesy staging, one driver pulls up to the pre-staged beam, and then waits for the other driver to pull up to their pre-staged beam on their side. Once both drivers are pre-staged, one rolls 7 inches forward to the stage beam, then the second driver pulls up to their stage beam. Once both drivers are staged, the starter will activate the Christmas tree, and around 2 seconds later, Boom, green light goes and the race starts. But it's only once the stage beam is triggered that the Plaid driver comes to a complete stop and can activate the cheetah stance. So unless they've paid off the starter to wait 10 seconds before activating the tree, those lights are going green 6 to 8 seconds before the Plaid has finished its cheetah dance. That means if you're in the other car, you're down the track with a 6 to 8 second lead before the Plaid even launches. But say you don't put it in cheetah stance. Well, then you're going to need a car that beats 9.68 second quarter mile. So if you want to race a Plaid, just tell them, hey, I'll let you do your cheetah dance. I won't leave. And then leave. You might think winning a drag race that way is a little unfair. Yeah, well, if so, you're gonna hate the other way to beat the Plaid. Snitching. See, like the Dodge Demon, which was also capable of a quarter mile time under 10 seconds, the Plaid shouldn't be allowed at an NHRA regulated drag strip, in spite of Tesla's claims that most owners will be doing this. Mandatory safety equipment is based on a car's best quarter mile time, and if a car can run faster than 9.99 at over 150 miles per, then a lot of additional safety gear is required to race on a drag strip. You gotta have a full roll cage, you gotta have shields around driveline components in case they explode. You gotta even have a parachute in case the brakes fail. Those obviously aren't included in your $120,000 Plaid. The driver, they also need to be wearing a protective fire suit, arm restraints. They need to hold an NHRA competition license. I don't think there are going to be a lot of Tesla owners who have that license. So since the Plaid can run a sub 9.99 quarter mile, you could complain to the safety crew, and if you're lucky, get them disqualified. But don't do that, it's freaking bogus, dude. So if you want to beat the Plaid in a race, you're gonna have to fight a little dirty. But there may be one more way to beat it in a fair fight. That's where the Rimac Nevera, a brand new to EV supercars, comes in. The YouTube channel CarWow got a Rimac to run 8.62 seconds in the quarter mile on an unprepared surface. The company's founder says the Nevera doesn't need anything like drag strip mode or cheetah stance to do it. He claims it'll accelerate like that anytime you want. And I'm sure just like the Plaid, there are some asterisks with the Rimac. But at this point, we're arguing over sub 10 second production cars. Think about that. In 15 years, you're gonna be able to get a discount on one of these sub 10 second cars. That's insane. You should be so stoked about that. I can't wait to buy one of these used. It's gonna be fun. If you're a fan of Tesla and a bunch of other EVs, go check out this D-list, which lists the fastest EVs out there right now. Click right here, right here, right here. If you want to know more about Tesla and how their autopilot system works, click here. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of B2B. Follow us here on Instagram at Donut Media. Follow me at Jeremiah Burton. And until next week, bye for now.